Hey everybody, Kevin Machado here. Hope you're doing great and you're ready for a really nice summer. The kids are getting off school. You're going to go camping and spend some more time outside, hopefully eating ice cream and playing with your kids and your dog. Whatever you are doing, I hope it's a great summer for you, and I hope you take to heart that the world really just does need you and not somebody else. Now, as we go from the mushy stuff into the real estate stuff, it's been an interesting start to the year. We've seen some ups, we've seen some downs, and we've got some numbers to report, which I think is maybe moving our trends. Are we starting to see something where we're seeing a shift in our market, when we're seeing some increasing in different areas and maybe some decreasing in other spots? So let me take you right to the numbers and I can let you know what we're seeing here. So specifically, when we look at our real estate numbers, and let's talk about the greater Edmonton area, that's going to be Edmonton and all the surrounding communities. When we're looking at those areas, we can see a few things. One thing, we're going to take a look at inventory. Our inventory, again, we're looking at the numbers from last month, and that was an inventory amount of 6,520, which really is starting to climb up. We're seeing that increase 16% year over year. We're seeing that increase nearly 28%, so 27.8% month over month. So we're starting to see that increase where the month previous, we had 4,900 listings. And now when we look at our sales, we had almost 3,000 sales, so 2,967 sales. And so that's good. We saw that increase 9.7% month over month. And then year over year, we've seen that come down 7.9%. We've seen that come down. So we're seeing this inventory starting to rise. Maybe people are starting to put some properties on the market. Although if you're looking, good inventory is still really hard to find. We've got clients who are like, where's all the good inventory? And we're seeing the price points are not matching, and people are maybe pricing on what last month's price was or something. And you want to make sure you're staying ahead. But the good inventory is still a little tricky to find, and that's why we're still seeing price increases. So another interesting stat when we're looking at the high rollers, the things that really happened over this past month, we're looking at our highest sales. So we've got an apartment condo sale that happened for over $1 million, just $1 million for an apartment style condo in the Edmonton area. And then the highest single family detached home we had in Edmonton was $5 million for the highest single family detached sale in Edmonton. And then when we look at those months of inventory, we take the active inventory, divide it by the sales. That puts us at 2.2 months of inventory. So we're climbing up. The previous month we saw we were at 2 months of inventory, climbing up slightly, but we're still in that seller's market. And anything under 4 technically is going to be sellers. Really, I think under 3 is where you're seeing sellers, and that's where you see price increases. But that's where we sit currently for now. And then our days on market for the single family detached homes is sitting about 27 days on market, takes on average to sell a home. That doesn't take into account houses that doesn't sell. So we say 27 days on market, but how many other homes out there didn't sell? Or how many homes went their full 90 days or 120 days on listing agreement, relisted, and then came back at 0? So we usually are going to tack on another week or so for days on market. So you're going to be just over a month for the average days on market. So we're 27, and last year was 33. Let's get into some of that pricing. When we look at our pricing in the Edmonton and surrounding area, that's going to be for our single family detached homes. That's at $580,000. So that's just down 1% month over month and still up 6% year over year. So we're seeing a little bit of shifting. It's not increasing as dramatically month over month, but still relatively strong and nothing dramatic yet there. Detached, the semi-detached, those are going to be those half duplex style properties. Those are sitting at $440,000 for the average half duplex. That's going to be up 1% month over month and then up 6% year over year. So very similar, just very nominal differences there. And then our townhomes, those are sitting at an average price of $307,000, which is down 2.7% month over month and still up 4.3%. So still good strength there. Seeing some shifting and some movement. Numbers are not jumping dramatically month over month. They're kind of staying steady, maybe shifting down a little bit. And we look at our apartment style condos, those we've seen some increases. Those are sitting at $214,000, where we saw before. These have moved up a fair amount this year. And we've seen this month over month, it's down about 2%, and year over year, we're still up 3%. And now I want to take you and look at my neighborhood specifically here. When we're looking at St. Albert, what's St. Albert doing? And we know that these suburb communities, particularly St. Albert and Sherwood Park, those perform really well, and they perform with good strength compared to the rest of the market. And they usually are going to keep moving ahead pretty well. And so when we look at our St. Albert market, our current actives, we're seeing about 117 active properties that are for sale. They're single family detached, and we got 30 that are pending. Last month we had about 107 and then 27 pending. And then sales, previous month we had 121 sales. And then the month before that, we had 107. So those sales are continuing to increase. But as we're looking at the sales, we were chatting and then trying to figure out where is that heat. I know anecdotally we've said that lower price points, that's where you see the majority of your sales. And so I wanted to actually break it down and look and see what's happening. When we're looking in the under $600,000 price range for single family detached homes, there were 71 sales out of that 121. So that's a big chunk. Then when we move from 600 all the way up to 800, that's going to be another 38. So there's still a fair amount there. But really, the majority is going to be that under $600,000. That's where we're seeing a lot of competition. That's where we're seeing homes go quick and even prices go above list. 600 to 800, that's the other hot spot in our market. Really, like probably towards the lower end is where you're seeing more of that strength. But still, there's some great value properties that are here in St. Albert, really beautiful homes that are in that price range. So we're still seeing those sales occur. When we go from 800 to $1 million, we saw 8 sales that were in that price point. Then we go $1 million and up, we saw 4 sales in the last month. So out of those 121. So the anecdotal evidence has been proved with data. We're seeing majority of our sales that are occurring under that $600,000 range and truly under 800,000. So that's going to be, when we're looking 800,000, that's 109 sales out of 121. So that's quite a bit. Now, our average price point here is $618,000 in St. Albert. And so last month was $614,000. So we're staying relatively the same. And that median price is $560,000, whereas last month was $550,000. And then the average last year was $569,000. So we're still see that increase about 8% year over year. And then month over month, we're pretty steady. The highest sale we saw in St. Albert this past month was for a $1.7 million infill in Mission, right along the river, really cool spot. And then the low we saw was $389,000 in Lacombe Park. Now, when we take our inventory and then we divide it by sales, the month previous to last was 1 month of inventory. And then right now we're sitting at 0.96 months of inventory. So not a lot of inventory. If you've been looking in St. Albert, you're probably asking, where are all the good properties? Or you looked and then it was gone the next time you checked. And that's what we're seeing. The good properties are going quick. There's not a ton of really great inventory. And the stuff that is nice is selling really well. But we have to make sure we're looking forward at our pricing. You don't want to price yourself incorrectly. If you got your property listed, we're seeing maybe some shifting in our market. And so if you're thinking, maybe our market's going to stay relatively flat for the next little bit, but you're thinking, I believe our market's going up and I'm going to price my home up there. The market is here for your home. And if you're up here, you're going to miss out on people, and you're going to miss out on people that are wanting to buy your home. So what we find is if you're overpricing, you're missing out on all of those people that are wanting to buy your home. So really, you've got to come to where the market is. And if we think the market might shift, stay flat, or maybe slip a little bit in the next month or two, you want to get ahead of that and be where the market's going. And so truly the best way to sell your house is going to make sure you're right where the market is, or you're where the market is going, and so that you're able to achieve the best value. We're still seeing multiple offers. We're still seeing houses sell over list price, but those houses have to be priced well right off the hop. I hope this information is helpful. We're here to help guide you throughout the whole sale process, or if you're trying to purchase a property, we're here to help serve and make sure it goes really well for you. And we're here to give you some recommendations for summer, maybe some good ice cream treats or something like that. But if you've got any questions, you need some advice, reach out. I'm always happy to share and chat with you and hopefully help make your next home purchase or home sale a really great one. All right, my friends, thank you so much for watching, taking the time to hang out with me. Enjoy your summer, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.